What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday, Nintendo had their double feature direct with a direct partner showcase as well as an indie world, and there were certainly mixed reactions online, but there's actually a lot of stuff that got announced here, and yes, we're gonna go over everything line by line. We'll see what we have there. Also, we're going to be talking about Sony, who, well, I've talked about before, this generation's going the wrong way. Well, the PlayStation 5 in Japan is absolutely going the wrong way, with prices actually surging out there. And Sony, well, they cited, we'll say, an interesting reason. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early. If you'd like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're going to start today with Visions of Mana, which is actually out tomorrow, the 29th. And I'm excited to check this game out. I do have a lot happening now that I'm currently playing, so I will be getting to it. But I was very curious how reviews would pan out for it. And actually, we can see this over on Metacritic, currently sitting at a score of 75. Now, this is on the PlayStation 5 version, which did get the most reviews at 42 of them. And there's also 13 PC reviews that's sitting at a 74. So basically the same there within margin of error. And after going through the different reviews, actually most of them seem pretty happy with the core gameplay, the progression, the visuals, even the characters. The thing that they all kind of point to, for the most part, is that the story just isn't very interesting. It's kind of boring, and at times when you have cutscenes with plot details and stuff, it's sort of that that scene where you slap your forehead because of how, as they say, paper thin some of those events and twists are. But for it, really, if you just kind of like the gameplay of it, and of course the visuals and just the RPG side of things when it comes to progression, you should get a kick out of it. Just realize one part that obviously is pretty big to these sorts of RPGs isn't exactly the strongest. Also, it looks like Square Enix is doing a bit of a pivot here with Foam Stars. We can actually see this over on their website, where they say Foam Stars, currently available on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, will change from its current regional pricing to a free-to-play title starting from October 4th, 2024 at 1 a.m. So a little over a month now. Of course, though, well, if you bought the game already, what exactly happens? Well, they say for those who have downloaded Foam Stars before this change in price, also keep in mind, I assume that means if you download it through PlayStation Plus, maybe, they're going to be distributing a free legacy gift that includes these exclusive in-game items. They have, different color variants here, an exclusive slide board design, and the title Legacy. So I guess everyone who plays with you from then on out knows that you spent money for the game. I don't know if that's actually a reward necessarily, but I guess a positive here is you don't actually need PlayStation Plus at that time to play Foam Stars. You can just download it because it's free to play, and that actually doesn't require their online or Sony's online subscription service. Seems like a bit of a Hail Mary at this point for Square Enix to try to do something here with Foam Stars, and if this doesn't work, most likely, let's be real, it'll probably get shut down, as we've seen Square Enix do with other games like Babylon's Fall. Oh, and if you've been interested in Epic Mickey Rebrushed, a demo is now live. This over on THQ Nordic's official account, where they say, play the free demo for Epic Mickey today and get a glimpse of Mickey Mouse's exciting adventure in this stunningly reimagined 3D platformer. I downloaded it on the PS5 and the Switch. I fired it up very quickly on the PS5, just take a look really at the visuals to see how exactly what I remember playing on the Wii has then translated up here to HD in 2024. And I gotta tell you, it looks good. And they also played around with some of the controls, for example, with the brush that you would be pointing and aiming with the Wii remote. They, of course, have taken that and mapped it to the right stick. And then you use L2 and R2 to either dissolve things or bring them back. And it was pretty fun. I mean, again, it's a demo. You can try it out and see what you think. It's pretty much available on all platforms at this time: Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and on Steam. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo's double feature presentation they had yesterday, where they took an indie world and they took a direct partner showcase and just mashed them together. Now, going through this, as I did record everything that was announced there, it was roughly 48 different titles or updates through DLC, even something going into NSO. So there's a lot to go over here. We're going to start though with the Indie World Direct and then work directly into that partner showcase. So we'll start from the top. That with Balatro, which is having a crossover with a number of other different video game properties like Witcher, Vampire Survivors, Dave the Diver, and Among Us, that's a free update that is out now, and it's pretty cool. It takes like the themes of those different games and works them in as different cards and decks, so that is a fun strategy for Balatro, and I'm curious if they continue down this path. I assume if they got any big licenses, I mean, it would probably end up costing money, most likely, but with how well the game sold, this seems like a cool move just to continue keeping interest at this point in the game. Next up, we had Neva, that's out October 15th. Moth Qubit, it's an RPG and you befriend bugs in a corporation. It kind of looked like it had that quirky nature, sort of like Earthbound, but it is coming out spring 2025. Coffee Talk Tokyo, it's out 2025. Sea of Stars is getting DLC. Throes of the Watchmaker, it's out spring at 2025. Power Wash Simulator, it's the Shrek Special Pack. It's fall 2024. We had Morsels, that's February 2025. Date Everything, which is, well, it's definitely an indie game for the showcase here. October 24th, 2024. Peglin, this looked really cool. So it's Peggle, but it's a roguelike turn-based RPG. So as you are essentially playing Peggle here, at the top of the board, you'll see a turn-based battle going on that will be affected by how many of these little pegs and stuff you hit and the score you rack up below it. That is really neat. And guess what? It's out right now. You're actually going to hear that a couple of times here as we go along for both presentations. Wobbly Life, that's December 2024. Pico Park 2. So you navigate through platform puzzles, and I think this looks like a really fun party game, and it is up to 8 players. So you should be able to sync 8 Joy-Cons to the system and attempt to get through this. It does look like it's going to take a lot of cooperation, and I can see some backstabbing going on to knock people into a pit. Either way, it is also out right now. Then they had a bit of a sizzle reel, Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope DX, that's 2025. Europa, October 11th, there is a demo that is out now. Cuisiner, that is January 28th, 2025. On Your Tail, November 21st. Metal Slug Tactics, they still don't have a release date for this. I'm a little confused on this one because it's fall 2024. So you may want to make that announcement here soon, but nonetheless, they at least had it appear in this show. The Plucky Squire, that is coming out actually here in 3 weeks now, September 17th. And then they closed out with a game that I've seen many people ask for in the comments and even have brought it up in prediction videos, Pizza Tower. That is out now, and again, many people have asked me to check this game out, and I've seen it on Steam. I have. It's just I haven't really had a chance to try it, but after I saw some of the gameplay there, it did remind me a bit of Wario Land just because of the way that the character was running, and then sort of that Ren and Stimpy art style added in. Looking back, though, at the indie world, if it was just this, I understand people would probably be like, oh, okay, that really wasn't a great presentation for me. These indie worlds are hit or miss, that's the best way I guess I could put it there. But it's definitely stuff that's not necessarily going to click for everyone, and maybe that's why Nintendo had, I'd say, a smaller selection of indie titles here, many that we've actually already heard of, and then attached it to the partner showcase that I'm sure many people are interested to see what would be there. Which we'll be moving into now, starting with Tetris Forever. This is like 40 years of Tetris games. They show off a number of them here, and they have something called Time Warp, which is a mode where they jump between different generations of Tetris games. Really, really cool stuff there. There's also documentary clips, and I'm sure things you unlock for the entire history of the Tetris IP. It's out 2024. No release date on that yet, but we'll keep an eye on this one. And we also have NES Tetris that's going into NSO sometime this winter. We have Star Overdrive. Now, this looks like a hoverboard action-adventure game. It's out in 2025. Goat Simulator 3, that is out now. There's also a physical version sometime in November. The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky the First. So this admittedly went by very quickly. Like I saw it, I was like, okay, look, I will tell you this. There are so many Legend of Heroes games that pop up or I feel like I've seen. They blend together a bit. This one though, I really caused a reaction online because it's apparently a remake of like the first one. And when you look up the visuals for the first one compared to this, yeah, it's definitely quite a bit of a remake, bit of a step up here. And this, I think, accounted for about 10 seconds of the direct. There is an extended trailer that is currently available in Japanese, and I'll actually have that link down below for you guys if you want to check it out. But yeah, very interesting. This, I guess, is where you would start. Let me know in the comments if that is, I guess that's the starting line there. Star Wars Hunters Season 3. Then we have Stalker Legends of the Zone Trilogy. This is out November 2024. I'm curious How this is going to run on the Switch, that's probably the biggest thing for me with this one, is just see the, I guess, performance of it. Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition, that's out September 26th. Disney Dreamland Delight, there's a new event. SpongeBob SquarePants The Patrick Star Game. It's a physics-based sandbox game. It's out October 4th, 2024. Fitness Boxing 3, that's December 5th, 2024. Then we have the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. It's out in 2025, and this was another one that caught a lot of us off guard. We've already been surprised by Capcom with their most recent fighting collection that had Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in there, but get this. We have Capcom vs. SNK, Millennium Fight 2000 Pro, Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium 2001, Capcom Fighting Evolution, Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper, Project Justice, Power Stone, and then Power Stone 2, and Plasma Sword. That is an incredible collection, actually. We've been calling for Power Stone in some fashion, right? We were like, oh, just put them both together and drop them in a collection like that. They added a bunch of other games in here that are kind of obscure to people, as we see some Dreamcast stuff in here, for example. But what a cool collection to have, and I'm picking this up right away. Power Stone, yeah, absolutely. And then we did get a release date for Marvel vs. Capcom Collection. They're doing that thing where they're going to drop it digitally on September 12th, and then there's going to be a physical version November 22nd, and they already know they're going to get plenty of people to buy this thing twice. Okay, that's the way it goes. I kind of want to wait for that physical version, but it is interesting just to see MVC2 just available, like outright in a collection. Then we have Atelier Yumiya, that's coming out 2025. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster. It is back finally. People have asked after 2 years now, I think. March 6, 2025. So unfortunately, still a bit of a wait, right? Like 6 months or so, but you've waited this long just to see it appear again in some way, so that's not too far off, I guess. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, that's November 14th. I feel like there's a bit of a missed opportunity here to announce a demo, although maybe they're not close enough. I expect the demo to happen for Dragon Quest III HD 2D, and maybe they want to do it a few weeks before it comes out, but why not get some ad space here technically for a direct to remind us that it is coming. Then we have Castlevania Dominus Collection. Okay, this is Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. It's out now, and these are some awesome Castlevania games from back on the DS. If you are unaware of these games, or you've never played them, absolutely worth it. It's $25, and from what I've seen so far, as I did buy it and started downloading it actually before recording here, from what I've seen online, the way that they solved the situation with the bottom touchscreen where you would sort of draw out symbols or connect dots to do different moves, they just made them quick time events to make it a bit easier, where you'll press different buttons on, for example, your controller in order to complete like a little mini game to do that spell. So I guess a clever way to get around what was a very unique design at the time with the DS. Awesome announcement here, though. Then we have Civilization 7, that's February 11th, 2025. Tales of Grace's F Remastered. I'm not very familiar with this Tales game, but it is coming out January 17th, 2025. My Sims Cozy Bundle, November 19th. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2, that's Holiday 2024, and then Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, also 2024. Epic Mickey Rebrushed, we just talked about the demo earlier in the show, that is out September 24th, so next month. Tales of the Shire, that's Holiday 2024. Just Dance 2025, that's out October 15th. Funko Fusion, that's Holiday 2024. EA Sports FC 25, September 27th, 2024. Lego Horizon Adventures, still no release date, just says Holiday 2024, although most likely Sony will want to put a release date on this game at their own event that we believe is coming up here in the next few weeks, so we'll keep an eye out there. Rune Factory, a new Rune Factory, that's pretty cool. Guardians of Azuma, that's spring 2025. And the closeout game is interesting mostly because of the history for this franchise with Nintendo platforms. That's Yakuza Kiwami, October 24th, 2024. And you might be wondering, why is Yakuza Kiwami a big deal? Well, we had a collection of Yakuza games that was released on the Wii U, and it didn't do well. But it didn't necessarily do well for any other reason than it was fairly limited, and there was not a lot of interest in general at that time in the Wii U. So yeah, go figure, a Yakuza collection wouldn't do well anyway. There just wasn't many people to sell to. Now there's a number of people to sell to, and it appears, well, Sega and RGG are coming back to maybe test the waters with this, and I think this will open the door for other Yakuza and Like a Dragon games to come to Nintendo's next platform. This just seems to be the jumping off point of them kind of reconnecting with Nintendo and their Switch at this time. But overall, looking at this this collection, we'll say, of directs with an Indie World showcase and this partner showcase. I think if you had them both separated on their own, most people would look at them and like, yeah, that wasn't very good. But I feel like just the vast number of games here, as I mentioned, about 48 different titles were highlighted. I mean, there's a lot. If you come away from it like, okay, there are 3 or 4 games I thought looked somewhat interesting, you can kind of go, okay, that wasn't a waste of 40 minutes. But I did see a lot of people online who said, no, it was terrible. I feel like where we are now with the Switch, there's a lot of context there being in the 8th year, and I think it's right around the corner for Nintendo's next system with an event that will not only show off the console, the new system, but also some games probably from third party and first party with kind of interwoven in that trailer that shows the system, and then there'll be some big event that launches the whole thing and we find out about a bunch of games. So for me, looking at this as almost the bookend for what are really Nintendo Directs for this current generation, I thought it was all right. In our last bit of news, let's talk about Sony and the PlayStation 5 going the wrong way, specifically in Japan. We've talked about how typically, years into a console's life, we expect them to get cheaper. These systems right now keep getting more expensive, or in the Switch's case, never changing their price at all, which, I mean, technically going up with the OLED to 350, anyway. With the PlayStation 5 in Japan, it appears it is seeing a significant price jump. We can see this posted up. This is over on Tech Radar saying both versions of the PS5, the standard and digital edition, will cost an additional 13,000 yen, roughly $90, making it the third price hike since the console launch in Japan. Now, what we're seeing here with Sony is they are citing economical, regional issues and challenges and just conditions, which I can only assume is just the yen itself being fairly weak and at times just getting weaker, and they're trying to adjust based on what supply and parts cost for these systems. But it's not a good look because, again, we're used to these systems being reworked, a slim model of some kind, which we kind of have like a PS5 Slim technically now, and then the prices to drop. But now if you look at the PlayStation 5 in Japan, which there's an entire chart over on Sony's blog post currently that shows the pricing. I went ahead and converted some of it over. The PlayStation 5 disc system, $554 for the US. A PS5 digital, $506. A DualSense controller, $79. Or the PlayStation Portal, $242. And this just feels like a very, very weird generation because of things like these. I know we still call these systems, and I see it all the time in videos or just discussions on social media, we still call it next gen. Even though these systems, the PS5 and the Xbox Series specifically, are coming up on 4 years of being out. I mean, really, November, it's gonna be 4 years. And we still look at them as new or next gen. Well, the fact that we still see pricing going up around them, people are still wondering when that big breakout next gen experience is gonna happen. That's kind of why. So it's not great, obviously, in Japan to see these prices, as it's not going to exactly help systems fly off the shelves starting September 2nd when these prices go into effect. Although I guess right now, as some people have posted online, seems like they are selling out. So there you go. I guess if you're in Japan right now, you may want to go out and try to find a PS5 before the prices jump $90. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, give the Direct/Indie World combo event a grade. So the leading vote was C at 43%, then B at 25%, D at 15%, F at 10%, and then an A at 8%. Again, though, the whole F thing has always been weird when you have 48 games. I'm right around that C or B territory. I said it was pretty good on Twitter because after it was done, I said there was a lot of stuff there, and I was still pretty excited to see Power Stone, and then you see the Castlevania DS games, and even Yakuza coming back to the platform. There was a lot of interesting things happening, but I also went into it with expectations of, I'm not seeing the next big Zelda game, I'm not seeing the next big Mario game, and Nintendo is probably saving a lot of stuff right now from their end for a big event probably in the next month or two to at least establish their next generation system, because yes, especially after seeing this presentation, I really do think it's right around the corner. And we'll finish up with the comments of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Adam, who says, the time Nintendo doesn't say we won't see the Switch successor in a Direct, we will know what's coming. Well, here's the thing. I believe when they do announce that they're going to show their next-gen system, they're not going to announce it as, hey, there's a Nintendo Direct coming up here, it's going to be 25 minutes long or something. What they did with the Switch, if you go back and look, and they announced this on Twitter on their account, they said, hey, tune in to just see the next generation for Nintendo. And that was it. They told you up front in the post that you're about to see a brand new system. They're going to probably do the same thing here. Hey, tune in to see what's next for Nintendo. They're not going to tell us the name of the platform or see the successor of the current Switch. They'll word it in some way to make it sound obviously like Nintendo-like, but I think that'll be the strategy. They're not going to leave anyone wondering what exactly is coming up. They're going to tell you, much like they do now when they reply to their own post to let you know that, yeah, you're probably going to be disappointed because the Switch 2 won't be here. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll have a link up here in one of the boxes. Or maybe you want to see a PlayStation 4 that most people have forgotten about. I'll leave that link below. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.